All right. So, looking at the overall crypto markets, it appears that we continue along on our bubble, on the bubble trajectory. As long as new money keeps on getting funneled in, as long as new entrants, participants keep buying their ticket into crypto and buying things regardless of the price point, regardless of it up 1,000%, 10,000%, 80,000%, doesn't really matter. New money comes in, they just buy regardless of any price point. They don't know much about trading, they don't know much about investing or crypto for that matter. And they just buy because they saw it on CNBC and they just buy anything. So as long as new money keeps getting shoveled into the fires, the prices will just keep on going up and up and up. So obviously you got to keep some fuel to ride things. Like I said before, anything that I sold early, too early, I regret. Even some things that I've made 10x on have gone up like 50, way more than 10x, like 50x or ridiculous things or 100x. So you think 10x is good on something, 1,000% returns, which in any sane normal market, that would be ridiculous returns. Nope. Turns out 10x isn't even good enough anymore. Turns out it's like 100x or bust, right? And so fortunately, there are a few gems that I bought early, such as Ethereum Classic and Golem, that I'm still riding literally from the bottom, right? So I've got a few that I'm still riding. Obviously, Bitcoin, I'm still riding a lot of Bitcoin. Where I erred, and it's good to reflect on your trades because you could be profitable but not perfect, right? And I highly doubt that anyone's gonna come out of this bubble trading perfectly, right? It's a catch 22 no matter what way you look at it. There's some quote unquote holders who are feeling very happy right now that they held their bags and they everything keeps on going up and they held and they're making all this profit and paper gains and so on and so forth. But I guarantee you those holders, many of those holders who are just hold, when the bubble pops, their paper gains could also evaporate, right? So there's even holding too long can cause you to lose money. Not holding long enough can cause you to lose profit. So I say really there's a middle path to that, right? And the middle path is like hold some longer term and take profit along the way. But recap of the Bitcoin markets. um, you know when 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 Bitcoin was breaking out of the all-time high right here, and the usual state of the market is that I knew where this is going, right? I had a very strong feeling, and just based on the TA and breaking out of the all-time high, and I was talking about this really, really early, that we were likely to hit 2, 3, maybe even 4,000 if we produced the same measured move as in 2013. And I was calling that while people were calling it a fake rally due to being unable to withdraw USD Bitfinex withdrawals, right? Now, so my prediction and where Bitcoin was going was accurate. Where I slipped up is I defaulted back to the regular inverse correlation between Bitcoin and altcoins. And several times in the past, I've actually made a lot of money by getting out of alts and going heavier into Bitcoin, right? So my mistake is I went 80% into Bitcoin. I did hold on to some longer positions like Golem and Ethereum Classic and stuff that continued to go up higher. So that was a good play. There were some coins that I sold out of early, which I thought were up really, really high. Stratus being one of them, which, produced a 10x. And, I sold out of Doge a little too soon as well. and so on and so forth, right? Which is fine. Whatever. Everything just continued to go up. Also Ripple, stuff like that, everything just continued to go up much, much higher with Bitcoin at the same time, regardless of Bitcoin going up. So everything lost its inverse correlation, and everything actually started to become highly correlated, as in everything just, went up. And then when Bitcoin had a major correction, everything lost value, right? Not everything, but many things lost value. I mean, Ethereum lost 50% of its dollar value in 3 days on this correction, right? So, when you're on the bleeding edge and you're looking at this and it still looks like a parabolic move, well, at the time it was one of two options, right? It was one of two possibilities when I sent out a trade alert for the bounce play. I missed the exact bottom, but still got into the 19s. Usually I like buying in on the wicks here. It would have touched the trend line exactly. So anyways, Bitcoin has been bouncing since. And so I saw one or two possibilities from that point, because this is a fairly big drop, right? Either a dead cat bounce where it rolls over, goes back to a return to normal phase, and then the bubble pops and rolls down and drags everything down with it, or it's just the first major correction in the larger bubble. Now it looks like it's definitely the first major correction. So I'm still holding that position. I did get stopped out and then re-entered back in. I got stopped as we broke this immediate trend line, but as I saw that it held up with a higher low and continued on its trajectory, I re-entered into the market, right? And I would say at this point, the dead cat bounce likely is invalidated. I think that we are headed towards new highs. Obviously, we can still see some pullbacks along the way. But if you look at the Fib retracement, we have surpassed 78% retracement. We're almost on a full 100% retrace. This is just kind of like a big V bottom. So this was the first major correction on the bubble. Now, as a good risk management strategy, I basically what happened here was, as we were breaking down, I sent out another trade alert and said I sold some of my bags. Now, I did sell about, I would say, 10 to 15% of my entire Bitcoin holdings, right? And I did also buy the dip for a specific trade, right? So I did take long-term profit off of the table, about 10 to 15% of my Bitcoin holdings, just as proper risk management. And I did that still buying a dip, longing a dip for a specific trade and a bounce play, because I had some, so I took hard profit off the table that went into my bank. And then on a couple of exchanges, I went into cash. And then with that cash, I bought in on the dip for a long position. I didn't margin long because the price of Bitcoin is ridiculously high, and so there's obviously greater downside risk. But when I see a bounce play, I jump in, right? Did I recover that 15% to bounce? I definitely recovered some of that for sure. And the thing is that when I sell 10 or 15% of my long-term holdings or whatever, you should also realize that those coffers are constantly being replenished, either through scalping, right? Like I made some money scalping, altcoins going up, new money coming in, passive income, this and that, right? So I've always got new Bitcoin coming in. Every single day there's new Bitcoin filling up my coffers. So I can sell, I sold some Bitcoin even when we were kind of breaking down here, right? And I tripled my Bitcoin holdings, even having taken hard profit out. I tripled my Bitcoin holdings from hedging 50% into altcoins that all exploded and went up really, really high. Now, I could have made a lot more than that had I held on to some, such as Ethereum. I still have some ETH as a long-term investment, but really not as much as I should have. I really only have like 1% of my original accumulated position, right? So, my current Bitcoin to altcoin ratio, because a lot of my mid caps have been increasing in value and because I've started diversifying a bit, it was 80, and I think it's probably now maybe 60 or 70 Bitcoin, 60 Bitcoin. I could have gone heavier into alts, but the thing is that I like Bitcoin because it's liquid, right? I mean, if I have a lot in altcoins that are illiquid, you could be like, for example, you could be in some altcoin and be a paper millionaire or whatever. Like, I think Vitalik at this point must be a billionaire, right? With his Ether holdings. But good luck getting $1 billion out of the market. It's not going to happen, right? You can get about as much out of the market as there is buy support, right? As there is buy support. So, look at the buy support of Ethereum on Poloniex. Maybe there's like 6,000 BTC. Well, that's not anything close to $1 billion, is it? And that's the most liquid Ethereum market. So, you could, if you had $1 billion in that, you could literally crash every single market at the same time down close to zero by buying every single buy order, selling off of every single buy order on every book on most exchanges, and you're probably still not going to be able to get $1 billion out of the markets, and you're going to get completely wrecked on slippage. So keep in mind, there's a difference between market cap and liquidity. There are a lot of altcoins that have a quote unquote, high market cap, but you'd never in a million years be able to pull that kind of money out, right? Because market cap is just price times supply. But the way that they're calculating market cap does not take into account liquidity and market depth, right? So, if there's no buy support on something and it says, oh, the market cap's 100 million, but there's no buy support, well, you're not going to get 100 million out, right? Period. So there's paper profits, and then there's reality, right? So obviously, I like to hold a majority of my crypto in Bitcoin because I know that people could probably sell tens of millions, or not hundreds of millions of Bitcoin, dollars worth of Bitcoin through many different channels, including OTC, including whatever, and be able to actually get that money out of the markets because it's still the most liquid market, right? Anyways, that said, I could have made more if I'd gone heavier into altcoins, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. Who cares, right? The point is, you make money, you make that profit. Now, all that to say, last month, and I'm gonna do I'm doing a market report right now. It's gonna be sent out today, so I'll just do kind of like a review on some of the things. But last month, I started talking about accumulating a bunch of mid to low caps, and my strategy is there's a lot of new projects that are in accumulation and haven't really rallied yet, right? And so basically I said, I think there's going to be a lot of second, third, fourth wave rallies, bull runs on new markets, new coins, tokens. And the name of the game is you just buy that stuff in the gutter in accumulation and just sit back and eat popcorn and do nothing, under trade, right? Actually, the more you trade in the current market, the less money you're going to make, the less profit you're going to make. That's the insanity. Unless you're scalping Bitcoin on the dumps. That is another strategy entirely, but you still need the right market conditions in order for that to be fruitful, right? So, made some money off of these this dumps right here, I probably made, I don't know, just off of Bitcoin dumping and scalping, I probably made like at least $20,000 in a week or something like that, just doing that. So so I love scalping Bitcoin when it dumps, right? It's a lot of fun. Now I'll show you some of the markets that I'm in. And yeah, honestly, under trade, just ride it. Stop trying to fiddle and fidget and whatever. When the bubbles pop, the bubbles popped, but until then, just as long you don't know, nobody knows how much new money's coming in, right? Yeah, let me show you an example. And this is ARK is a beautiful example of patience and perseverance with this particular strategy, right? With this particular strategy. Now this is starting to really get some steam here. I mean, this could really pop off. Now, this is a market that I bought. And I actually, I bought it on the spike right here. Usually I would buy it down here, but it seemed like it was breaking out at that time. But it was kind of like a fake out, right? So, it was breaking the descending trend line or whatnot. So it's like, okay, look, it's breaking out. I think I'll buy some. Well, it turns out it faked out. Then I was down in the negative, minus 30%. And so I basically stopped eating for a week and just stopped sleeping and just panicked. And was chewing my fingernails. No. I basically just ignored it and did nothing and said, who cares? Right? I don't give a I just don't care, right? I didn't care, period. Oh, bag holding, my story. So what? It's going to pump eventually. So what? Cry me a river. Boo-hoo, right? You need to sprinkle a little dose of apathy in your trading, okay? Not too much apathy to the point where you just lose your shirt, but, with the right strategy and patience, you really you really need to sprinkle a little dose of not caring, right? Especially in the current markets. So in this particular strategy, because this was still a mid-cap market, mid-market capitalization, my strategy is, even if you're in the red, just bag hold it. Bag holds or 10x or whatever, right? I mean, you're either going to moon or you're going to bag hold, right? Moon or bust. There's only two options with this type of strategy, right? Moon or bust, right? When you're trading the mid-cap accumulation, burn that into your brain. Moon or bust, period. There's no other way, that as far as I'm concerned, right? You either bag hold that stuff to zero and it goes nowhere. And then even when you bag hold it, nothing really goes to zero. Even when you bag hold it, even then it can still get pumped. But this is this particular strategy. This is a different strategy than trading a liquid market on a momentum breakout or a bounce play. Those strategies, risk management says you should have some stops. I use mental stops, right? Sometimes I'll use a hard stop. But, that type of risk management says, hey, I have to have my set risk. I get in on the breakouts. If it turns into fake out, I want out. Right? On a liquid, higher cap market. What do I mean by higher cap? Something like in the top 20. A Bitcoin, an Ethereum, a this or that, right? With a mid cap, something that's new, that hasn't gone anywhere, that's still a market that's developing, buy that stuff in the gutter, in the ditch, in accumulation, and do nothing until you're up an insane amount of money, and then you can start to take profit. But I guarantee you, if you're buying something in the well, I can't guarantee you anything because there's no guarantees in the markets, but time and time again, anytime I started selling a mid cap a little too early, I regretted it. Anytime I cut out and took a hard loss because a mid cap didn't immediately do what I wanted to do, I regretted it. So the best play for mid caps is you buy that stuff in the gutter as low as possible before the herd, and then you do nothing. You just ride it, especially in the current markets. Maybe if this was 2016 and we had normal sane bull runs, then yes, it'd be easy. You'd have your targets, because the target would be ride the stuff until Bitcoin breaks out into new highs and then dump everything and ride Bitcoin. It was easy. Very easy strategy and very profitable strategy. And we've done it many times before. Now it's not like that. Everything goes up. It's like, okay, we'll just ride everything then. Fine. Ride everything until the bubble pops. When's the bubble going to pop? When Bitcoin pops. I believe that the bubble will pop when the Bitcoin bubble pops. When the Bitcoin bubble pops, you could probably kiss it all goodbye. The dollar gains of everything will go down into the gutter because Bitcoin's driving all of it. Right? When the Bitcoin bubble pops, you also know that new money's not coming into the market anymore. Now it's just everybody trading with the same old trade. See, in 2016, it was the same old clowns trading against each other type of thing, right? And some of them were good traders and some were terrible traders. And so money flowed from the terrible traders to the good traders. And there you go. But now new money's coming in, and basically even the terrible traders of last year are now making money because new entrants coming into the market are even worse traders. They're like the absolute worst traders, right? Because they're just buying anything regardless of the price point. Like, I don't care that I could have bought this for half a penny 2 months ago. Give it to me for a buck. Give it to me for $1. I don't care that I could have paid half a penny for it. I want it at a buck. Forget about buying things low. Give it to me expensive. Okay, well that's fine, right? ARK is on Bittrex. So I went into some Bittrex gems because I also knew we'd probably get a second wave of rallies on Bittrex that aren't happening on Poloniex. So ARK's one example. Okay, so I was down 30%. Guess what I did? I did nothing. And now I'm up like 60 or 70%. Okay, pretty good. What else? What's another market that I'm under trading? I bought some edgeless. The instant it hit Liqui, I bought some edgeless. I should have done the same with BAT, but I was lazy. Anyways, I bought edgeless so low, you can't even see it on the charts. Like, I literally bought it went lower than where I bought it. I bought it at 55. It went lower than that, but you can't see it. So basically it looks like I bought the exact bottom. And you can go back and look at the trade alert. You'll see a chart where I bought. It was in the gutter, right? And this is a market that I did nothing on. Oh my God, it spiked. Oh, it's crashed. End of the world. Oh my goodness, it almost crashed back to my entry point. What did I do? Nothing. Oh, it's back up, spiking again. Oh, it crashed. What did I do? Nothing. Sure, I could have traded the waves and stuff, but sometimes if you get too cute with the markets, then you get kicked off the bucking bronco, right? You just ride the trend and do nothing. Under trade. Be a lazy trader. Be a lazy trader and profit and be prosperous. Anyways, I'm up over 100% on this. Bitcoin wise, dollar wise, like I'm up 114% on that. And you know what? I'm still not selling, So when do I take profit? Oh, I'll take profit. Basically, when I start to see like a 5 to 10x, when I start to see a 5 to 10x on certain markets, so 500 to 1,000%, I'll start to lock in some profit without going all out, right? So that's one thing I've learned in this bubble and this bucking bronco, is to not go all out of anything until the real bubble pops. And I'm going to watch Bitcoin for that. Bitcoin will determine that for me. I don't, and maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe, who knows, maybe Ethereum keeps on going up or whatever. But I think that, listen, I mentioned this before, and Bitcoin, when it had its correction, Ethereum lost 50% of its dollar value in 3 days. That's how quick it can happen. 3 days, 50% gone, $200 to $100. That was a taste. That was a pre-warning of what it's going to be like when the bubble pops, right? We had a correction and we continued to go up because obviously new money's still coming in. New money's still funneling in. Bitcoin obviously has to go really crazy before it pops, right? A double from the all-time high wasn't crazy enough, even though it's a liquid market and a Titanic, right? Wasn't crazy enough. So I'm just riding this, right? TAS, this is another great one. Man, 121% I'm up right now. These are markets I just bought a month ago. Some pretty good returns, I must say. This hasn't even hit Bitrex yet. And look at it go. I mean, this thing's a beast. I mean, look at these big ugly spikes, right? It's not very liquid, so people are dumping, but I don't know. I bought this stuff down here in accumulation, like I like to. And then let everyone else make the tough decisions about, oh, is it too high? Should I catch the breakout? Should I not? Where should I take profit? I better set my stops and then whatever. That's not my problem. I don't want to play that game with these mid caps. Give me that stuff in the gutter in accumulation, and then I will do nothing until I'm up ridiculous amounts of profit or the bubble pops, whichever comes first. So, there you go. Am I fretting about this? This is like a big cup and handle right here. Boom. Right? So, there you go. So that's another one. Oh, Trust, TRST, I'm up like 52%. Listen, it wasn't too long ago where I was only up like 20% on some of these. I was at break even on a bunch, and I was even in the negative on some, right? Where did I buy this? I can't even remember. Where was it? 9883. Okay, so I didn't get it in the gutter dirt bottom. I think I bought it like right here. So I was a little bit late to the party. If I'd bought like in a real accumulation, a real gutter right down here, then I'd be up a lot more. But I was a little bit late to the party on that, and that's fine. Second entries are good. I was late to the party on ARK 2, and I just waited for the correction, and so I'm up whatever 53%. The one that I'm down on, which I was down like minus 30, and now it's only minus 18, is Loon, but it's starting to rise. So this is my least profitable bag for now, but it's also such a low market cap. It's not even the top 100. So if Loon ever gets any attention or energy and it makes it up to the top 100, then, well, it'll be significant gains. So I wouldn't even dream of selling any of this at a loss. And I don't care. I don't care if it's minus 18 or minus whatever. It's the patience game. Time is doing well. And listen, I'm giving you percentages that are based on the Bitcoin price gains. This has nothing to do with the dollar price gains. If you're someone new that's not hardcore crypto, hardcore Bitcoin, and you're more concerned about the dollar, and as you still should be concerned about the dollar gains, the dollar gains are even more ridiculous. I mean, here's an example. What's this at right now? I'm up, what? I'm up 30% on time, okay? I'm up 30% on time. But dollar-wise, how much am I up? Well, I start talking about time and sent out a trade alert, market report, whatever. And time was, where is it? Time is lost. This is a crazy thing. Time has been going down in market cap, right? So I bought it was 60 market cap, but I'm still making profit because other things are going up so ridiculously. But so dollar wise, I started buying into this stuff. We participate in the ICO, which is about $10. Then I decided, after this little spike and it came down, and I said, okay, I'm going to start buying some of this. I think it was like $7 or whatever. Now, dollar-wise, it's like $26, okay? So, sure, I'm up, 30% on Bitcoin, so performed 30% better than Bitcoin. But dollar returns, let's just give me an average of 8, just I'm definitely up, 200% at least. So dollar-wise. So 30% Bitcoin-wise, 200% dollar-wise, right? But I want to, why is USD different from Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin has been increasing over the dollar. So anything that increases over Bitcoin is going to be even exponentially higher dollar-wise if it's increased over Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has already doubled since it broke its all-time high, right? So that's why Bitcoin keeps on going up dollar-wise, and if anything gains over it, then it's up even higher. Right? So like, when it broke its all-time high, Bitcoin has gone up, is now up 90% from its all-time high. Anything over the past month that has increased over Bitcoin has made ridiculous dollar gains because the dollar value of Bitcoin is so high, right? Sure, if you want to cash out, like hard cash out, there's 2 types of ways to cash out in altcoins. The first way to cash out an altcoin, if you want to reinvest in other markets and keep some dry powder available for other trades, is you sell your altcoins and you go into Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is like the crypto cash. It's the cash for crypto traders, right? That's number one. If you want hard profits, then you take those Bitcoins that you sold your altcoins for, and then you cash those out and you put them in your bank. You buy gold, buy real estate, buy whatever. Buy your yacht. Do you choose these coins based on any fundamentals, or put another way, why do you choose some rather than any of the other 100 mid to low caps? I have 3 types of criteria for things that I accumulate. Other people might have a different checklist for accumulation. This is what I do. Number 1, it has to be in a technical area of accumulation on the charts. Hence, new project starts off high in price discovery, crashes, goes sideways. That's accumulation, right? Number 2, I only do it on new projects. Yes, there's some gems that you could have bought, something that's an old project from 2014 that pumped up ridiculous levels and blah, blah, blah. My risk management is I do it on new projects because I know that almost all new projects go through at least one bull cycle, period, right? So it's just a patience game, because also they've got new tech releases, new this, new that, more FOMO news events, this kind of thing, right? It's still new, still fresh, still exciting, right? Number 3, the project's got to at least be interesting. It can't just be some sketchy looking, pump and dump coin or whatever. It's got to have, at least decent developers and this and that. And that's it. Those are my 3 criteria for new coins. So there's all kinds of cheap coins that you can get in the gutter. And, half of them might not amount to anything, right? Let me look at another gem. So I sent out a trade alert on, basically I was dumpster diving on Poloniex for altcoins that haven't rallied yet, that haven't had the kind of love that so many other projects see on Poloniex, right? And AMP is actually my largest position. I chose AMP, Counterparty, and BitCrystals. I'm still waiting on BitCrystals and Counterparty, but AMP, so far, I suspect that AMP could really, really produce some nice returns. And here's another one. I mean, I was in the red on AMP, right? I think I was in the red by like 20% or something. I bought some AMP and then it dipped. Boohoo, Crimea River. And now it's starting to rally. Well, guess what? Guess who has a beta release of their platform this month in June? Scenario. AMP. Well, isn't that miraculous? What do you think's going to happen to the price when they actually launch the platform? Right? You gonna go for those 50% gains, or are you gonna hold it and wait till it produces another ripple? Maybe, who knows, right? In the current markets, maybe it does a 10x. I personally don't think I'm gonna sell this for anything less than 10x. And even then, I'll probably let some ride. Just because a couple of reasons. A, it's on Poloniex. and many coins on Poloniex have produced much higher than 10x. B, it's a mid cap on Poloniex, as in it's not even a top cap market. Listen, Ripple produced like 50x returns or whatever it was. Ridiculous. 100x returns. Okay. And it was in the top 10 for market cap. Ethereum produced ridiculous returns in the top 10 for market cap. So imagine the percentage returns that can happen on something that's hovering around number 50, that has a lot of growth upside potential for a project that hasn't even been launched yet. What could happen on the beta launch when all the last minute shoppers read the news event of the day and they just start buying with the kind of liquidity, blah, 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 buy, right? I think this can produce ridiculous returns if they actually do make good. And I just read yesterday that they are projected to release their platform as of this month. Guess who else is overdue for a platform release that may happen this month? I'm holding 50% of my bags. Golem. And a lot of people are saying ICN, even better. There you go. There's another one. Okay, so many of you remember I bought Golem down here. We did some fundamental and technical analysis in the room, live, right down here when it was in the gutter. A lot has happened since then. I did sell 50% of those bags. I did add to my position here and then gone out a little too soon on a smaller trade from the other position. And that was a bit of a mistake, but that's all right. I did sell 50% of my original position bags right here. The percentage returns are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and I'm just holding it, honestly. Like, I don't even think I even want to sell the rest. I honestly really don't. They're going to have a tech release. Who knows? What if this turns into another? Listen, it was 2 cents when I bought this stuff. It's now 50 cents. Right? Dollar-wise, ridiculous returns. It's now 50 cents. And I'm still riding half. And I'm actually in awe on how cheap I got that half. And I feel like it's impossible for me to lose on this, obviously, because the market would have to go all the way back down to 2 cents. and I'm just going to ride it. What's going to happen on their tech release? Well, look, so far the trend is my friend. It's been doing really, really nicely. I mean, it's just, it just keeps on increasing, has corrections, and then establishes, look, this is ridiculous. I mean, prior resistance turns support, blah, 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 and, could push up higher. Well, if they release the brass golem, it could still probably produce a 10x. And, normally I'm a lot more conservative with my targets. And, I feel like it's absolute insanity for me to even be talking like this, right? And the craziness and the magnitude of a lot of these markets have taken me by surprise when you could feel satisfied. Listen, I thought going from here to here was amazing returns. I thought that's absolutely amazing, right? But they haven't even released their tech release yet. So I think I'm just going to hold it long term, right? Is it too late to buy these long term? Man. I think investment wise, it might be. Because I just like to buy. There's considerable downside risk. I mean, you just got to ask yourself, if I bought here and everything fell to garbage, and it went all the way back down to where it was, which you'll probably will never do. But if it did, one can potentially lose up to 90% of its investment. So I would say, like, investment wise, long term, I don't know. It could still be a good pick, right? But I would probably treat this more like a measured trade. Will I hold it when BTC pops? It depends on the market. I have to look at the market and see how the altcoins. I'm leaning towards taking more profit when the Bitcoin bubble pops on things, but if markets just start going up regardless, and it turns out my thesis or hypothesis is wrong, and that Bitcoin pops and altcoins and Ethereum and whatever just keeps on going up, then obviously I'll ride it. And maybe I just hold some of this as a long-term investment just to see where it goes in the next few years. Just to always have some, right? DataBits. Yeah, DataBits is another one. I think did I already show DataBits? Anyways, it went up significantly. What am I up on DataBits? I think it's increasing. It's really rallying today. They've got a first token burn coming up. Yeah, 130% or something ridiculous. And it's just spiking. I bought this stuff over here. I didn't buy it in accumulation, but as it was ramping up, I bought it here. I was a little bit late. It was on my accumulation radar, but then I kind of forgot about it, and then it started ramping up. It's like, okay, I better get some of this. Anyways, 130% and rising. And record-breaking volume, by the way. Record-breaking volume, right? So, right? That's a good sign. So who knows where DataBits can go? How do you draw fib extensions when there have been several ways up? Well, you can keep on drawing extensions at new levels. So, fib extensions do work really, really great for measured targets, and you can keep on doing them at each level to keep on seeing, like I used a fib extension and literally nailed the local top of Golem, but then it went up higher after a big correction. Right? So, we're hitting a 1.618 extension on DataBits. But the thing with these mid caps, though, is I would just, I don't know. In the current market conditions, I would just let these ride and forget about targets for now until things start to pop. And once you're up thousands of % on something, then, it really doesn't matter. What else? Okay, so ICN is having a platform release, I guess, as well. So that's pretty good. This one I've been patient with as well, and it's not it's not doing crazy things like some other markets are, but you know, I don't what was the ICO price of this? Anyways, we got into it in the ICO and it's up really, really high. I think it was like 10 cents, 19 cents, something like that. Or I don't know what it was, but 5 cents, who knows. It's up like a buck 30, something like that. So, pretty amazing returns, really. And so that's another one I just been patient with, let it do its thing. Ant Argon, that's gone up for me. And this one kind of looks promising. Had a little correction, but I'm up a bunch because if I'm not mistaken, I believe I got into it like right around here. I have to look at my exact order entry, but I'm up on this, and that's just kind of going sideways. So one could say that there might be like a reaccumulation period right now. Right? So just being patient. So I would just say, under trade until the bubble pops. If you're not into something cheap, right? If you're not into something cheap and just riding profits, then you have to default to breakout momentum trading where you have set risk, stop orders, this and that, yada yada, targets. But if you get in on something cheap and have accumulated and bought close to the bottom, then you're just better to just do nothing and ride it until the bubble pops, or take profit along the way, but not to cut yourself short. So for me, I need to see like at least 500 to 1,000% on things before I start to get interested in profit, right? So someone's asking about Edge versus dollar. Let's see. Versus Edge versus Ethereum. So like dollar wise, it's been going up a lot. Okay, so here's an example, right? So what am I up on Edgeless? So against Bitcoin on Edgeless, I'm up 114%, okay? But I know I bought it down here on opening day. So that's 114% Bitcoin wise. So I know I bought down here on opening day in the gutter. Oops. So what am I up dollar wise? Well, let's find out. Dollar wise, I'm up 300%. Pretty good returns. So very bullish, but so someone's saying it's going down against Ethereum. Well, that's just because Ethereum has gained more than Edgeless has over the past month or so. It's gained more. But I personally don't trade against the Ethereum pairings. I only trade against the Bitcoin pairings, right? I don't want to overcomplicate my life. Just because Ethereum is popular now doesn't mean that I'm going to start trading against Ether and use that as a measurement and store of value. As far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin is still my measurement and store of value, right? And it's only gained 100% since the breakout point. So to me, it tells me it's more stable than something that's gained like ridiculous prices. That still, the thing with Ethereum is we're still not out. It's still experimental and new. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin has scaling problems and stuff like that. But guess what? Ethereum's facing scaling problems too. People used to laugh because Bitcoin fees were like $1. Well, guess what? Ethereum fees are now like $1 too, right? So, and it's got way more that it has to try to scale. And it's still new-ish. It's still a couple of years old, right? There's still wide margin for error. Let me give you an example. Okay, and this is unfortunate. I feel really bad for them, but Quadriga CX over the weekend, they or not early last week, I think it was Friday, I found out Quadriga CX, they accidentally miscoded an Ethereum smart contract, and because of their own personal user error, they lost $17 million on a programming error. Right? $17 million. Oh, the DAO last year, $150 million VC. Everyone's into it. Vitalik's into it. Everyone's into it. Any single person could have had the capability to audit and review the code and catch those bugs, and nobody did. They all still shoveled way too much money into it. And guess what? It popped. It was a disaster, right? There's going to be more of those in the future. We're going to see more of those. So I respect Ethereum, and I like the fact that it's gone up ridiculous prices and it's doing well, but it's still new and experimental. People forget that. They're going to put their life savings into something that still hasn't figured out a lot of these problems. They still haven't even, they're still not even in their full launch, their full version yet. They still haven't gone to proof of stake yet. We have no idea how the markets are going to react when they go to proof of stake. We have no idea how if the network's going to be secure or not. We have no idea. Don't have a clue what other problems can arise. Right? So anyways, the thing with Bitcoin, and sure, it's a pocket calculator, but guess what? My pocket calculator doesn't get viruses. So I would rather trust my store of value on the simple two-dimensional pocket calculator than, an Android smartphone that can get 1 billion viruses. Right? Anyways, there's definitely a wider attack surface. More complexity isn't always necessarily a good thing for security. But I'm not a programmer, so other people have more qualified opinions on that matter than me. Okay, so Ethereum Classic. Am I bored of Ethereum Classic? Am I going to dump my Classic bags? Nah, not a chance. If there's anything we've learned anything about this, it's to not just dump your bags because of getting bored of something. But, any one of these situations could have been a potential panic dump your bags type of scenario, right? And it's just it's correcting, it's retracing. Hey, look, it's you know why I'm still holding Classic. Check this out. Prior all-time high resistance is support, right? I think on a cup and handle it has to go up higher. But this depends. This depends where your entry is, right? So for example, if you bought anywhere up here, then yes, you've got to do the same thing, and you've got to have stops and if you bought anywhere up here, then yeah, you've got to manage risk, right? You don't want to bag hold it if it crashes, right? But I bought the breakout down here, and I've got some classic that I bought all the way down here into gutter. Lowest price ever. Lowest it's ever fallen. I bought some. I still have those bags. Still have my breakout bags. And now I'm just riding it so I can be patient. And I've taken profit already. It can go to 0 and I'm still going to be in profit. Because I've already locked in hard profit. I've already made ridiculous returns on this. It could literally go to 0. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it because it's still, less money in my pocket. But, when you buy low, then you can be a little more patient with things. But if you let's say bought the breakout or whatnot, then you have to have tighter risk. Or if you bought a dip or something like that, you've got to have tighter risk, right? But you know what? It's so far it seems like it's kind of producing a larger consolidation pattern. Right? Still kind of producing higher lows. Maybe it touches up here, completes that triangle. Needs to make one more point of contact to complete this triangle. So maybe it touches up here, maybe it bounces down. But, here's the thing though. Like, it's sold off because a bunch of digital gold or whatever holders were refunded their Ethereum Classic from the hard fork. And so these guys have just been dumping, right? A lot of them are ETH fans. They don't like Classic, so they just dump. I was expecting that. That's fine. I still didn't dump or sell. I wasn't going to contribute to that, so. I'll be patient, even if I hold it as an investment. Returns are still ridiculous, man. The returns are still ridiculous because I bought between 90 cents to $1.80. And now what is it at? $18? This is like Ethereum 2016 all over again. $17, $15, $17. Still good volume, 63 million. Still good buy support. So, could be the patience game. Other markets, counterparties, not doing much. Very limited supply, deflationary. All right, very limited supply, deflationary. Hasn't really seen a good Poloniex move yet. It's still low. I still have some. I wanna hold it for it to do something stupid like it did over here. Something ridiculous. This is Poloniex. I've seen absolute gutter trash pull a 10x on Poloniex, so. And I don't think Counterparty is gutter trash, so I've seen worse coins do crazier things on Poloniex. It's still a mid cap. Litecoin. Do I have a cap on how many? Do I have a cap and how many coins I'm in right now? Usually I'll do a handful, but in the current market conditions, I'm I'm in a bunch. And if I see more that are good, if I see more that are good buys and accumulation, I'm just going to keep buying more coins, right? So Litecoin, I mean, it's not my preferred trade setup right now. Could have a bounce, but you know, even if it did have a bounce, the percentage returns, you know, unless it broke into new highs, but it's not exactly low-hanging fruit at this point, so I'm not terribly interested in it. If you want to keep an eye on all your coins, go to CryptoCompare/portfolio. CryptoCompare.com/portfolio or Blockfolio. And that'll just automatically track things for you. So you could be in like a billion markets and just watch everything turn green. Made, I would say Made is definitely an underperformer. I remember last year Made was the hottest stuff. One of the hottest markets when it did this. So it still hasn't produced ridiculous returns yet. It could still I think it's probably a good buy, right? It's still a newish project. You know, if I cut this noise out, it's producing higher lows. Still range bound. Still hasn't broke out of the all-time highs. Factom did, I saw. So Made might follow. All right, so Factom finally broke out of the all-time highs. Both these charts kind of look a little bit similar. And there you go. Boom. Factom. I would say Factom is like a higher cap coin. Let me just look. I don't know. Where's its market cap at? Factom. I would still say it's a high cap. I say anything that's at least in the top 25, I would call a high cap market. It could still 10x even as a high cap. Ripple 10x, Ethereum 10x. You know, a lot of high caps still 10x. Litecoin. So it's just because it's and here's the thing, it's a much lower high cap. It's like right on the edge, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it at these prices and there's hope for 10x. I still have to stick to some semblance of strategy and sanity and still stick to my rules and have an edge. Even if it does a 10x, I'm still not buying it. That's just my rules. It doesn't mean that it's not a good buy or it won't go up 10x or whatever. That's just my personal rules. That's what keeps me solvent. And I've made I've missed out. I've missed out on big rallies for not just buying in when it does crazy stuff like that. But for every big rally I've missed, I've also missed on some pretty big flops too, right? I've also missed on some big flops. You're like, it's going all-time high, oh, catch it, and then it flops and you're down 50%, right? So whatever. I just trade based on my personal rules, based on my personality and what's good for me. right? Other people have different, some people would be, you could take a breakout trade on this. You could do it. And you could probably make money on a breakout trade doing this. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it's not my personal style, right? I was more interested in Factom when it was down here. You could go back and look at the stuff. We were getting into Factom down here. Now, I didn't hold on my Factom, but I know some people who bought Factom down here with us who have been holding, and that's great. Right? Again, another market I was kind of a little bit impatient with. Also, just greatly underestimated some of these markets, so, which is fine. Looking at Zcash, I still have my Zcash position from that breakout trade. That's why there hasn't been like a trade alert update. I've really done nothing with this. I'm still holding. I'm still holding. Now, I did jump in a room and went to add to my position when I thought we were kind of breaking, and I immediately cut out at a small loss because I didn't like my entry on that last, and it kind of ruined my cost basis. But the one that I never sent out a trade alert on that, right? So it was just like in the room. So because I didn't send out a trade alert, I didn't have to. I told people that I cut out of that in the room, but I wasn't gonna mention it in the trade alert because I hadn't told people, and I purposely didn't mention buying more here in a trade alert because I felt there's a higher risk. Why ruin a good thing? And I was aware of the risk, and I took a small hit, and I got out, and it's fine. But the trade that I bought over here in the mid sevens, I'm still holding that. And guess what? I know a lot of people out there who have been over trading Zcash. I saw a whole bunch of Twitter posts about people throwing in the towel and dumping their Zcash bags right here at the bottom. Well, I'm not criticizing them because guess what? That happens to all of us. We've all been there before. We've all dumped at the bottom before on something, right? That's normal. People got to get out of this ego, this pissing contests with trading. Oh, I'm a better trader. I never dump at the bottom. Oh, I hold forever. Oh, I sold the top. Oh, I bought the bottom. Sure, right? Anyways. Be a profitable trader, but be honest with yourself. Don't try to BS your way through life. Nobody, you could have pissing competitions all you want with other traders. It's not gonna make you richer, and it's not gonna benefit the quality of your life in any way, right? So just be profitable. Forget about wasting your time with getting on Twitter pissing contests with people. If other people want to do that and they want to let their egos get out of control because they're making money, let their egos get out of control, right? Just because you're making money doesn't give you license to be a jerk in life, right? So keep things sane. Don't lose being a real person just because you're making money. Don't let money change who you are as a person, right? That's all. It's simple. I know I'm kind of going off on a rant, right? But, it's true. I just see, people just get so full of themselves. Now, I'll point out and I'll criticize too, and I'm human, and I laugh at situations, and I saw people dumping their bags there, but you know what? I'm not going to criticize them for that. Like, man, I've done it before. You go back, you could see me, dumping some of my bags at bad areas. That's fine, right? It's still insanely profitable. And that's really all that matters to me, is that I'm A, insanely profitable, and B, not losing my shirt, right? That's what matters, ultimately. So I'm holding this. Whatever. Let Zcash do what Zcash does. I might not hold it forever, but it's a good entry and I'm not giving it up that easy. In hindsight, I should have held this breakout trade. It would have been even better position. It was even bigger position. I sold it on a double and I felt like a rock star because I nailed the top. But, you know, in hindsight, could produce much better returns over the bigger picture. Anyways, so I could go on and on and on about markets and such, but so far I'm just under trading and holding things, and perhaps hunting for new coins and opportunities. I'm always on the hunt for some new stuff, you know. The boring coins of today are tomorrow's hype, right? So just remember that. You know, something might seem boring and uninterested today because no one's buying it up. That's when you're going to make the most money. Forget about chasing with everybody else. Let them play hot potato. I don't want to play hot potato. Anyway, sorry. This one's looks like it's breaking all the all-time highs as people are pointing out in the room, and there's probably a very, very good chance it's going to break the all-time high and break out. Won't the boring coins crash when the bubble pops through? Yeah, it's definitely possible. And here's the thing, right? Like, take everything that I say with a grain of salt, right? Because we're kind of in new uncharted territory right now. We're in a new bubble. Right? This is the biggest bubble we've been in crypto, bigger than 2013, right? And it's uncharted territory. So I'm making like calculated, you know, guesstimations on things, but this isn't like the crypto word of God or anything like that, right? Like, I'm not some all-knowing crypto guru that knows every single thing that's going to happen to the markets, right? I know some strategies that work. I know that I need to take profit eventually and make some money. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely. I make mistakes all the time. Am I still insanely profitable? Yes. And, but you know what? Will all the mid caps bleed dry when the bubble pops? I suspect that when the Bitcoin bubble pops, we're going to see the dollar value of a lot of things dropping. This is what I'm basing it on observation from 2014, right? But things are also a lot different than they were in 2014 than they are now, right? We've got more money. The whole ecosystem is more evolved. And there you go, you know. So I definitely want to be, I'll tell you what my game plan is. And all I can tell you is what my game plan is. Whether or not it's going to be completely perfect or not is another story. But my game plan is, if Bitcoin pushes up into new highs, I'm going to take more profit off of the table. And if a lot of my mid-cap altcoin bags start doing ridiculous things as well, I'm obviously going to start scaling back and maybe selling half of everything, and probably into strength before the bubble pops, before a correction. And then if the bubble pops and we get a dead cat bounce and so on and so forth, then I might close out some and I might just hold some long-term investment because, you know, in 2014, most of everything went into the gutter when Bitcoin broke down and the bubble popped. And I kind of lean towards that option happening again when the bubble pops. But there might be some gems that I might want to keep some riding as an investment because who knows? Guess what? The bubble popped for Ethereum last year too, the bull run. And now Ethereum is over 10 times higher than last year's all-time high, dollar-wise. So that just goes to show. There's a lot of money that can come into crypto. But I'll tell you one thing, when this bubble pops, it's going to be nasty. It's that I can guarantee you, almost guarantee you. Obviously, nothing's 100% guaranteed. Now, when will the bubble pop or how long it'll last for, I don't know. But I will tell you one thing. I suspect the Bitcoin bubble will pop before August 1st. Why do I say that? Because Bitcoin's going through a user-activated soft fork, forcing the network to soft fork regardless of the miners without the miners' permission. I think that could create a lot of chaos. I'm not against user-activated soft fork because I think it's long overdue and enough of this stalemate and these shenanigans. The network has to scale, and if it has to be forced scaled by developers, then so be it. Do what you got to do to get us scaling so that Bitcoin can become, great again. And I hate using those cliche kind of terms, but Bitcoin can get its market dominance back and this and that, and start eating the lunch of some of these altcoins again, right? But I think there's lots of room for there to be pure chaos and carnage in the market and a bubble popping when that happens. And I think a lot of people are going to hedge their bets and start selling or going into cash before the hard fork. But guess what? We've got a couple months before then. So who knows? Maybe the bubble goes up higher or maybe it pops in the next week or so. We shall see. Either way, obviously, I got to take hard profit off of the table with everything. I still have the intent of selling 50% of all my bags. That hasn't changed. But what has changed is I'm also being a little bit more patient with certain things, right? But I still want to be one of those, few people who actually take hard profit out of the market. And there you go. No matter what, the bubble pops, I'll be a winner. And I am looking forward to the bubble popping. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. You see how much money you can make on those bounce plays, the blood, everything dropping. Absolutely, it's gonna be a trader's paradise, the volatility. But will you sell 50% of your altcoin bags even though they haven't reached 5x? That before when the bubble pops. That's a very good question. I'm gonna have to treat that on a case-by-case basis. I don't wanna just create hard lines in the sand and say, I create lines in the sand, not in concrete when I'm trading. So there's no absolute. So it really depends on each particular market. So I would assess one on a case-by-case basis based on the charts, based on how they respond dollar-wise to the Bitcoin dropping, right? And the answer might be yes. Yes, I might end up taking profit on a bunch, before the bubble pops, even if they don't pull a 5x. Yes, I might lock in some hard profit. Absolutely. Clean up some of my bags for sure, right? But that's a soft yes, right? If the Bitcoin bubble pops and everything's still looking bullish and going up, and then I don't really have a reason to do that, right? So it's uncharted territory we're in right now. There's not a lot of precedents to base any of this off of right now, right? So what percentage are you keeping to scalp on the bear trend? Well, I never really scalp with my entire portfolio, right? I only scalp with like a small percentage of my portfolio. I don't need a lot to scalp, especially with BitMEX and leverage and stuff. I don't need a lot to scalp, I could scalp with I could scalp with just one Bitcoin in my BitMEX account. I usually have 6 or 10 in there just so I don't have to use excessive leverage. But, you could really scalp with any amount, really, on BitMEX, right? Because you can't go too crazy on the order size anyways, because it's not super liquid. So it's not like you can do like $500,000 dip buys or whatever, you're going to destroy the order book and get wrecked on slippage. So there comes a point where having too much sitting on BitMEX is just kind of pointless and useless because it's all based on market depth and liquidity, right? So best exchange for scalping in the US, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, that's a big problem, right? That's a big problem with for US. I feel for the US traders. They have very limited options. You could try to trade on like Kraken or Bitfinex or whatever, but actually Bitfinex is the market mover, so I wouldn't recommend that. But I'm up in Canada. So, but I would also say, like, if you're making serious profit, you can actually start trading through, create your own company, corporation, and start, in another jurisdiction, and start trading through that. And you could open up all your accounts through your corporation, right? And you'll get taxed in a lower tax bracket, right? So, there's ways, there's strategies and stuff like that, but ultimately you got to just do what's right for you and your risk tolerance. Anyways, that concludes today's market update. I'm also going to be sending out a market report as well. So a lot of this is just recap. I know there's not a lot of terribly exciting new stuff except for just sitting on your hands and riding stuff. And if you're completely new, then and you don't have anything in crypto yet, then any of the mid caps that haven't really taken off yet, that aren't up ridiculous, like maybe Lunar or things that have only taken off a little bit, like, I don't know, I guess there's not a lot that's only taken off a little bit now. Times man, I don't know. my thing is I like to just buy this stuff as cheap as possible. So breakout trades are good on liquid markets for sure. I think there's probably still time to get in on AMP scenario. If BAT has a crash, I'd probably buy some of that. And anyways, scour through the markets and find some new stuff that's new and cheap and stuff like that. And I'll look for some stuff, and if I see something that I scoop up, I'll always look for something else to scoop up or whatever. Then I'll send out trade alert or something like that when I see some more stuff. I gotta go dive through the crypto dumpsters to see what kind of low caps there are, new low caps, bottom of the barrel markets type of thing, right? And I'll probably find some more. There's always something. I know we've got a bunch of new people who joined us recently, so it's not terribly exciting when I'm doing a review on markets, markets that we've been in for like over a month or whatever. I mean, the participants who came in last month who bought all those low caps are now probably really happy, and they had to go through the same situation where we were writing things from previous months, and they're like, oh man, what do I what should I get, blah blah. It's like, okay, well, just focus on things that haven't gone up yet. Now anyone who did last month is probably up minimum 50 or 100% on most things, right? So just in a month, right? Anyway, so that's it for today's market update. I'll upload it once it's